So, what is the policy and advocacy work that we do at CHRA? The way I think about it, it's about making sure that we share the experiences and perspectives of housers and our members in Ottawa. We need them to hear the things that you need in order to do the important work you do. So we engage with them in meetings on Parliament Hill, through government consultations and parliamentary committees, and try to share that perspective. But equally important, we also try to make sure we engage with our members regularly so that we at CHRA understand what your priorities are and the things you need to succeed. That's how I think about our advocacy work. And I think this work matters. After the last federal election, the government announced a plan to launch a new agency, Build Canada Homes, that would focus on-market community housing. But there were still many projects left in the pipeline at CMHC for the Affordable Housing Fund. And the work we did at CHRA was to make the case that, one, in the meantime, before Build Canada Homes can be operationalized, they needed to top up the Affordable Housing Fund. And two, that they needed to transition as many projects as they could. We saw that last fall, the government committed to us both those things. They topped up the Affordable Housing Fund, and the new leadership at Build Canada Homes has started to transition projects from the Affordable Housing Fund. So, there's still lots of work to do on Build Canada Homes. There's still lots of unanswered questions we need to get right. But the important part of that transition, and getting that transition right, is a core part of advocacy work. And it is the sort of stuff that I think matters to our members. I also want to talk a little bit about why it's so important we have a strong national voice for non-market community housing in Canada. We have a federal government that is dealing with many, many different priorities. Housing is one of them, and non-market community housing is part of that. We need to make sure we have a strong presence to break through the noise and make sure that our sector's needs are considered, actioned, and prioritized by the government. And that's why it's important that we share a solid, unified, and national voice to make sure that we break through. So, why did I start getting involved in housing advocacy work? I got involved in advocacy work because, as cheesy as it is, I believe that engaging with government and making government better is one of the key ways we can unlock systemic change in our society. And housing is a great way to do that. Housing is core to who we are culturally, economically. It's such an important and significant thing for us to get right. And to me, that's a really motivating reason to do the work that we do. And I'm really, really proud to do it. One thing I think would be a little bit surprising to most people about my day-to-day work is how much reading is involved. First thing I do every morning with a cup of coffee is I open up all the news sites I can think of, government websites, debates in the House of Commons, and I read. Try to make sure I stay on top of what people are talking about, what the government's thinking about, and what's happening on housing policy. Because only by understanding what's happening can we think about how we're going to respond, where we can find opportunities. And I think it's a maybe boring but important part of the work. So before I climb these stairs, let me tell you about the few things we're thinking about at CHRA in the next coming months for our advocacy work. First is making sure that Build Canada Homes is operationalized in a way that works for non-market community housing, that it prioritizes community housing, that it has clear outcomes-based targets, and that it's a long-term partner for our sector to work with. We also want to see a renewed national housing strategy. The first national housing strategy is coming to an end in 2028. We need to see an important set of commitments from the federal government to make sure that we have a comprehensive approach to tackling the housing crisis. One that thinks beyond, but including Build Canada Homes. One that thinks about how do we try to more than double the amount of non-market community housing we have in Canada. And those are going to be really, really important priorities for us in the next few months. I look forward to working with you all on that. There's one thing I could change about the housing system in Canada tomorrow. It would be that people understood and our government understood how fundamental and important the non-marked community housing sector is. It's important for our economic productivity. It's important for our social well-being. I think it's important for our cultural well-being. And I think it's something we need to really have a serious conversation about in Canada, reprioritizing non-marked community housing. We need to more than double the amount of community housing we have right now. And we need to be thinking big and visionary about what that looks like in the future. Anyway, that's it for me. I hope you've enjoyed coming on this walk with me, and wish me luck as I head down those freezing stairs. See you around.